you can stick around till after class. If you can't, no worries. By the way, if you can't stay for the entire class, this class will be uploaded over on the YouTube channel, Just Stamp with Anna Marie, shortly after class ends. All right, my friends, I think that's all I have to share for you for the time being. Let's dive into the 4 cards featuring the Ocean Friends. All right, let me get this situated. And so I'm going to point you down so you can see what's going on the crafty table. And let's see how this works out. Let's see, I think we're good. We've got our crafty surface going on. You can see my adhesives there in the background. I am going to be using the tutorial for this class. By the way, if you would like this class, the Ocean Friends class that I'm going to be sharing with you, there are a few different ways that you can join in on the class as well. So one way is to place a $35 online order using the host code. You can buy anything you like, and I will send you the materials to make today's cards at no cost to you. If you're local to me, you can join me for a multi-gen class coming up on April 12th, and the deadline to that is approaching, but you can still get in on it. If you're not near to me, you can still join the card class to go in the mail. It is available also for $25, or if you place an online order. So there is a $6.50 shipping fee as well. And if you already have the stamp set, you already have the materials that you will need, you can join with just the PDF, the step-by-step tutorial with all the photos and how-to on creating the cards. All right, so you can see this is today's featured stamp set. It's called Ocean Friends. It is available as a bundle, so there will be dies to cut the Ocean Friends, the crab, the lobster, and it's got some other accessory dies as well. So that is the main focus of today's class. And I did mention I'm going to be sharing with you some techniques. And we are going to start off with one of our first techniques. It's called dry embossing. And fingers crossed I have everything I need to get us going on these cards. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing with you the beautiful card. It's very fun. It's a thank you card. Thanks so much, with 2 snappy crabs in pumpkin pie. And we've got some waves going on in the background. I'm going to share with you how I created those waves, and it's one of those things that adds some interest to your card. It just takes it up a notch with those textured waves. So my card base is going to be basic white. By the way, the measurements will be in the tutorial if you join me for the kit to go or just the PDF. I have a piece of Summer Splash cardstock. I'm going to be dry embossing that, and I have pre-cut some of the elements that I need for my card. These were die cut from the coordinating dies. There's a coral plant. I've got 2 of those pumpkin pie crabs. I have another lemon lime twist coral plant, and I have 3 small starfish. These are cut, again, the coordinating dies using peach pie cardstock. And then I have 1 label that was cut from the Stylish Shapes dies. But of this card, I'm going to be sharing with you how to dry emboss to create the texture layer that's on the front of this card. So for that, we need our cardstock. We do need an embossing folder, and this is the Soft Waves 3D embossing folder. You can see it does matter which direction you insert your cardstock, because if you insert it one way, they will be vertical. If you insert the other way, they're going to be horizontal. So your first step is going to be to insert your cardstock into the embossing folder. This is for a landscape orientation card. I'm going to bring that in just for reference. I'm going to insert it into the folder close that down, and it doesn't really matter if it's a little askew. They're waves, right? I'm going to close that down, and now the most important part of texturizing is to know how to create your sandwich. So a sandwich is just the layers that you're going to need along with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I do need the standard size machine because of the size of the folder. And I'm going to set down my platform number 1. These are numbered. Platform number 1, this is a 3D embossing folder. So next goes the folder with the cardstock inserted, and I want to put it in spine first. That way when we crank it through, any air that builds up in the folder will be released out the other end of the folder. There won't be a buildup, air buildup, which could stress your spine. So I've got my embossing folder, and then the final part of the sandwich is going to be plate number 4. This is the texturizing plate, and by the way, these all come with the standard cut and emboss machine. Then I'm going to crank it through. So just hold down, stabilize your machine, holding it down, crank it through. You're going to hear a little noise. You didn't break the machine. And when we open up our folder, we will have the texturized layer. There's Summer Splash texturized with those great waves. So how fun is that? That's a great feature on this particular card that has the dry embossing technique. So I'm going to attach this. Let's see. I am following my tutorial, so I don't want to omit any steps or put them out of sequence. All right, so I'm going to fold and burnish my card base, which happens to be basic white, and I am going to use my bone folder to make a beautiful crisp fold, and I'm going corner to corner. Just swipe the bone folder at about a 45-degree angle across the card base itself. I'm going to put it in the right orientation. This opens at the top, or sorry, this opens at the bottom with the spine at the top. And I am going to take the white, the basic white coral that I pre-die cut, and I'm going to snip it in 2 pieces. So it's going to come right down the center, and this is going to be added right to the basic white card base. I am going to use, I'm going to do it this way, my favorite adhesive. It's Tombow liquid glue, and I'm just going to put little dots, not a lot, along some of the critical points. So the key to the liquid glue is to use it sparingly. You want enough to attach it, but not so much that it oozes out and makes a sticky mess. So, and I'm going to attach that about 1/2 inch from the left. And I'm going to do the same with the second snip. I'm going to apply my adhesive. And I'm just trying to put some dots. I'm using it sparingly, right at the tips. Okay, and again, this one goes about 1/2 inch from the right. And I'm just going to secure that down, a little bit of pressure. There we go. All right, so my next step after I've adhered that coral plant, I'm going to adhere the texturized layer. And again, I'm going to do this with liquid glue, and I'm going to put it up to as far to the edge as I can, especially at the top, and bring it down. And when I secure this to the card base, it's going to be about 1 inch from the right of the card, and I'm going to align it right at the fold. So the alignment is critical more in the fold than it is at the base of the card. Oops. Because if there's anything that has been just slightly miscut, I have the chance to trim it off. So here's what I mean. I'm going to flip that over, and you can see how it peeks out at the bottom. So I'm going to make sure this is straight. And here's the thing I love about the liquid glue. It's very forgiving. And I still have the opportunity to snip that and straighten it out. So I'm just going to take my paper snips and use the card base as my guide to trim it nice and even. And there you go. So now we've got our waves attached, and I have a feeling, oh, I didn't want to move those. I had my 3. Let's see if I can find it. It's no longer there. All right. We might have to make do with 2 embellishments. It's all good. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the lemon lime twist. It's the same die cut, this time cut in that beautiful lemon lime twist, one of my favorite greens from Stampin' Up. So all of these colors coordinate with the striking designer series paper, also known as pattern paper, called Friends of the Ocean, and they are part of this Ocean Friends suite. So they coordinate. I pulled the colors that I'm using straight out of that pattern paper. Lemon lime twist, summer splash, pumpkin pie, melon mambo. They're all in that paper. And I'm going to add this right above the wave layer and just press down to secure that down. And I'm just trying to be really gentle as I secure that layer down. So I have pre-die cut and stamped, and so on the next card I'm going to share with you how I stamped these. These were die cut from pumpkin pie, and they were stamped with pumpkin pie. In the stamp set there is a detail crab stamp that I stamped onto the pumpkin pie in pumpkin pie ink. It's very easy since these are photopolymer stamps, meaning you can see right through them to position them easily. So next I'm going to add my crabs to my card front. And I'm going to do that. I'm looking around. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here, I'm going to stamp my greeting before. I'm going to put that greeting on first. So I'm using a label, which I pre-cut from the Stylish Shapes dies. It's a nice banner size, and it is about, I'm going to give you the measurements, about 1 inch by 3 1/4. I'm going to stamp that greeting that comes from the Ocean Friends stamp set, and I'm stamping it in Memento black ink with the greeting that says thanks so much. And I'm going to ink up nicely, pressing down, and I'm going to stamp to the right of the label and pressing down. There we go. All right, so I was saying the next thing I'm going to do is add that to the card base. Let me cover my ink pad so I don't get anything inky. And I'm going to attach this with standard dimensionals. So 1 and 2. And this is going to be centered on the card front on that Summer Splash layer, about 1/2 inch from the base, from the bottom. All right, there we go. Now I'm ready to add my crabs, and I'm going to do this with dimensionals, but I don't want to double stack my dimensionals. This layer already has some height to it, so I want to elevate my crab to the same height. I'll put a little bit behind, oh, that's too big, there. And the right side is going to be attached just with liquid glue. So you can see I've got part dimension and part glue, so that it's going to remain the same height as the label. Now for the second crab, it's going to be up on dimensionals. So I'll just add 2 to make it nice and stable. And then add it to the side here. All right, so we have most of our card complete. We're going to do some embellishing, and that's why I'm using the small starfish. And again, I had 3. 1 has already moved on. to attach these, I'm just going to use mini glue dots. So I take the die straight up to the mini glue dot, and it makes it much easier this way. I'm going to remove it, just kind of peel it off, and place it right on, whoops, kind of attached to my nail. I'm going to attach it right up here, and then I'll do the second. And if I had the third, it would go down a little bit lower. I have a feeling that third starfish is going to creep up shortly. All right, so there is the first card. Thanks so much with the dry embossing technique. And we did that with the 3D Soft Waves embossing folder. Thanks so much. That's a great thank you card to send out for a variety of reasons. Thank you for a variety of reasons. All right, so next let's go on to the next card, which is just because, whoops, and I have my tutorial all out of place. All right, so let's see. So this is the card I'm going to share with you how I die cut. And this is a Hello Friends card. You can see, again, it's got that soft embossing in the background, but I'm going to share with you how I die cut the crab. And die cutting and stamping, there are a couple different techniques. I'm going to share with you 2 ways to do it. It's totally your prerogative on the sequence that you want to stamp and cut. So what we're going to do, again, this is another basic white card base. And again, I'm going to put those sea stars up at this top. There is a third to start. And I'm going to start with my card base. It's basic white. And I'm going to fold that over. And looking for my embossing folder right through here. And we're going to do that. Now I have my pre-embossed layer for the card base. And I have die cut as well the coral plant, again in lemon lime twist. And I also die cut a waves snip. This measures about 1 inch by 5 1/4. This is a die from the Ocean Friends die set. And that's included in the set. So all I did was place that on the basic white, run that through the cut and emboss machine. Now I do want to tell you there is a better way to pass this through. So I'm going to move that aside and share with you. When you place this on the cut and emboss machine, make sure it's placed horizontal or parallel to the cutting plates. You don't want to run it through vertically. One, I don't think it would fit, but some slim vertical dies do fit, but you want to make sure that they're running past horizontally. Otherwise, it might not cut. So let's go back to the stamping and die cutting. I'm going to be die cutting that lobster in Melon Mambo with the die, and before I die cut it though, I'm going to stamp it. So here's what I'm saying. You can choose to die cut first and then stamp, or you can stamp then die cut. Either way, it's your prerogative, whichever's easier. Because these are photopolymer stamps, it's easy to stamp on the die cut. So in this instance, I'm going to stamp, and I'm doing tone on tone. It's Melon Mambo ink on Melon Mambo cardstock. Close that up, put that aside, and we're going to die cut this lobster. Sorry, I'm looking around for my, before I lose things, I'm looking around for my mini cut and emboss machine because this will fit on the mini. There we go. And if it fits on the mini, I usually prefer to do it on that just because the mini is always within arm's reach. All right, so I just put down the platforms. Here's my sandwich for this die cut. On the mini, I prefer to start with plate number 3 that means it will be a lot easier cutting. And you never want to cut without a cutting plate. Now this one, I don't know if you can see, it has been run past without a plate, and you can see the indentations on this plate 3. Shouldn't be there because you always should have a cutting plate for cutting. And that just goes, it's trial and error. Lots of new stampers use my tools and we make mistakes, so it's not critical if that happens. So here's what makes this easy. I'm just going to align this through, and just to hold that die in place, I use Post-it tape to secure it down so the die doesn't move as I'm cranking through. I'm going to put another cutting plate so that on the bottom, right above the plate 3 is a cutting plate 2, paper, die, cutting plate 2, and I'm going to rotate the handle through. I like to put my hand up on top for stability. Yikes, there we go. That makes it easier. Okay, so crank that through. And I have my cute little lobster and melon mambo. Love the pink. There, so we die cut, we stamped and then die cut. And here's what I'm telling you about the waves. You want to run that through horizontally. And that would also work on the mini. So whatever I can get through on the mini, I prefer to do instead of having to use the standard machine. All right, so let's bring in our elements. We've got our die cuts. We have our texturized layer, and we have what I call a labeling layer with the waves. I'm going to stamp this one with another greeting from the Ocean Friend stamp set. It says, "Hello, friend," and I stamped again in tuxedo black. And these have been pre-mounted. This is block H. And I'm going to ink up. Hopefully I get a nice juicy inking. This goes to the left, and I'm using my grid paper to make sure I've got things straight. And it's going to go about 1/2 inch from the left and about between 1/4 and 1/2 inch from the base. Hello, friend. Pressing down firmly. There we go. And, all right, so that's, oops, sorry about that. I keep bumping the camera. And then I'm going to add some water bubbles with Summer Splash. And these are the little bubbles which I have mounted onto block A. Now block A is no longer available, but I still love the size, and you can see I've actually got 2 stamps on that block. I'm going to ink up and stamp down, and a couple of times. There we go. That easy, right? Stamping some water bubbles. All right, now we're ready to do some layering. I'm going to layer this onto the texturized Summer Splash. And this one's a little bit longer. What I'm going to do is use my liquid glue. And I'm going to place them along the bottom. And then I'm going to place some along the top. And I know I'm going to need to snip that down to size. So I'm going to go corner to corner, align that to the base. And again, I love the liquid glue because it's so forgiving. I can kind of slip it into place, tweak it, secure that down. And again, I'm going to snip that off. It's a little bit long. And just looking for my paper snips. Here we go. And I'm going to snip that down. There we go. Right. So now I'm ready to layer up onto the card base, and it's a basic white card base. And I'm just going to go about 1/4 inch all the way around on this layer. And I find with the texturized layer, the liquid glue for me works best. You could use seal. When it's texturized, it's a little bit harder to secure. And I've got about 1/8 inch border all the way around. So we're going to secure that down, just with a little bit of pressure. I'm going to add that lemon lime twist coral plant again with liquid glue. So these cards really come to life with the die cuts. The coral, there are a couple other plant dies, the outline dies for the Ocean Friends, and that wave to create the border. I'll make this a really special bundle, which by the way is on the last chance list. So if you like this, and I think it's a great set for summer, all kinds of summer occasions, you're going to want to grab it sooner because it just made the last chance list yesterday. And I'm just tucking that under one of the waves. I'm going to secure that down. And we've got our friend, the Melon Mambo lobster, and that is going to be added with dimensionals. And I'm going to make sure we've got all areas covered. The standard size dimensionals are perfect for this. And I'm going to put one more right in the middle. So the class that I have coming up with the Ocean Friends on April 12th, if you're local, you can join in person. It is a multi-generational class, which means I have youngsters, I have tweens, I have moms, I have grandmothers, and it all makes for a really fun class. A lot of laughter around the table, a lot of craftiness, and it's a really great afternoon. Saturday, April 12th at 1 o'clock. If you're not local to me, you can still get the kit to go. And there's two ways to do that. You can either purchase it outright, $25 with $6.50 to ship, or you can place an online order of $35 using the host code. And I'm going to put that information at the top of this video. So I'm embellishing again with my peach pie starfish. They were pre-die cut. There is a die that's included in the coordinating sets, and it cuts 3 at a time. So you don't have to individually cut these. They're a little trio of starfish. And I love how they have the stitching in them. Makes them really sweet. And there we go. Hello, friend, from that little Melon Mambo crab. I love the coloring and the texture, so really cute, fun cards. So we're still learning techniques. We've got one more technique this time. Actually, we have 3 more techniques. I'm getting ahead of myself again. All right, so the next card has some pattern paper for a bold background. I mentioned earlier that the stamp set has a coordinating pattern paper called Friends of the Ocean, I believe. And it's got great color with that Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, Summer Splash, Lemon Lime Twist. Those are all colors that I pulled out for my card making. This one is on a Summer Splash base. And it features the pattern paper that I just called out. And that is going to be flat adhered onto the Summer Splash. And I pre-scored it at 4 1/4, and I like to pre-score the card base. Some people just fold it over with the bone folder. I feel like it gives a smoother fold when you pre-score it. I know if you're a card maker, let me know what you think. Do you take the time to pre-score your cards? All right, now I have again pre-die cut and pre-stamped my lobster and my crab. This time I used pumpkin pie ink on peach pie cardstock. So it's a little bit different variation on it. And I've got 1 Summer Splash sea plant, which I'm going to snip this time into 3s. So let's see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to snip right there, and then I'm going to do one more snip there. So I've got 3 pieces, and those are going to be bordering the circle that I pre-die cut, Stylish Shapes. It's a square with the stitching. I'm going to be stamping my greeting on that, and the greeting, I think it's perfect for besties. This stamp comes from an online exclusive stamp set called Pattern of Friendship. Nothing but sentiments, and I love them. I love the fonts and I love the words. So here's where I got Bestie. You can see the other sentiments that are in this stamp set. It makes it a really nice choice for your stamp collection. And again, I'm going to be inking up in basic black. So I've got my card base, Summer Splash. Let's keep going. And I folded and burnished. I'm ready to add my pattern paper layer, and I'm going to do that again. Look at that beautiful pumpkin pie pattern too. It's hard to choose. They would both be pretty cute. And liquid glue. And this is going to be centered, so I've got about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Now, I've already stamped my lobster, my crab. Let's stamp the greeting on the square. Liquid glue, or sorry. Let's see. I've got my stamp again on block C, and tuxedo black is what I meant to say, again in tuxedo black. I'm going to stamp that, ink it up, and I'm going to stamp in the upper right. So Bestie, and cover that black pad. This is going to be flat adhered onto the card front, liquid glue. And it's horizontally centered about 1 inch on all 3 sides, top, right, and left. And here's where I'm going to bring in those 3 pieces of coral. So one I'm going to bring in at the side here. So this is just pretty much going to frame that square. So 1 sea plant, 1 coral plant to frame the greeting. And remember, not a lot. You don't want this to ooze through. And I'm going to put it down at an angle. And it's kind of flying off. I want to make sure it stays within the boundaries of the card. Okay, that tall piece, well, they're both pretty tall, right? I think this is the piece I'm going to use here to go towards the top. And don't be alarmed, it might look a little bit odd when I have the places, but once pieces in place around the greeting, but when I put the Ocean Friends on, they're going to kind of cover the open areas. This is going to be coming up like so. And I'm going to add my lobster. So this one I kind of want hanging low. I'm going to put my lobster in place first, again with dimensionals. And I always say arranging the dies and the embellishments, it's kind of like flower arranging. So you kind of want to put them in place and move them around. Each one's going to come out differently. Each card is going to come out differently. So you just kind of fill in where you need a little decoration. All right, so this comes up, and then you can see his little antenna kind of frame out that bee right there. All right, then I'm going to take that third piece, which has not been secured down yet. We're going to add a little bit of glue here. And just little dots. And here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to get my fingers in there. I'm going to get my pincher, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to slide it right under the lobster and put it in place right there. All right, now my bestie, or the lobster's bestie, the crab, is going to be positioned also with dimensionals. And it's kind of a wonder, I haven't lost anything yet. I always think about it. I hate to say it because I think I'm going to jinx myself. I'm going to lose it. And here we go. Lobster goes right in place here. So there's a bestie card. So bestie could be for a happy birthday. It could be for just, it's a great day. I hope you're feeling better, whatever it happens to be. That's really a versatile greeting with the little besties on front. And that, the focal point, I think, would be the pattern paper in the background. Love it. I love those colors. All right, we got one more, another technique. This time we are going to be two-step stamping. And I've also embedded another technique called stamping off. So that's going to follow next. Let me get some of these things out of the way. All right, this one again is two-step stamping, and I'm looking for my kit, which should be right on the desktop. Here we go. This is the card, the two-step stamping card, another fun card. And let's see, the card base this time is Melon Mambo. I'm going to open that up. We are going to be doing stamping and die cutting. And we've got that Melon Mambo card base standard size. I'm just going to fold it over for now. Put it up in place. I have a mat in Summer Splash. I have my layer. We're going to be stamping on this layer, and we're going to be stamping on this big scrap of basic white as well. The smaller basic white, so I have 3 pieces, is for the label. And then I have pre-die cut a Summer Splash sea plant. So let's work on the stamping. And I'm going to bring in first my scrap, so it's just basic white, and I'm going to stamp in Melon Mambo. This is tone on tone. It's two-step stamping. So here's step number 1. I'm going to do the detail stamp first, and this lobster is on block E. It's kind of big, but I want to make sure I have that image all mounted on the stamp. This goes down full force. Step number 1, the detail stamp there. And then I'm going to bring in the coloring stamp, which is just a solid lobster. I'm going to again ink up in Melon Mambo, except this time I'm going to do something a little different. And I am going to do another technique called stamping off. So before I stamp onto my cardstock that I'm going to be die cutting, I'm going to ink up, stamp off, and then I'm going to come over and I'm going to see through my stamp and align this. I can see the little lobster legs and the tail. Stamp down. This is two-step stamping and stamping off. So we've got a couple techniques going on. There's our beautiful Melon Mambo lobster. So we've got that. This one we're going to be die cutting, but we have another layer, this background layer, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to stamp a lobster onto the background layer. This one is going to be fully inked at step number 1. Stamp 1. And then I'm going to bring in that solid lobster. And I'm going to stamp off and then fill in the color. And again, I'm aligning by placing the legs and the tail within the solid image. Now, if you're off a little bit, I think that just adds to the charm. I don't think this needs to be 100% accurate. That's just my style. All right, so I have that pretty Melon Mambo lobster. Let's do a couple of crabs as well. Let me close up the Melon Mambo. And I'm going to bring in the solid crab, and I pre-mounted this. This is block D. And I have another block D for the outline stamp, and I have my pumpkin pie ink pad. So this time I'm going to bring in my detail crab, and I'm going to stamp at the bottom. It's kind of going in the same direction as the lobster. And I'm going to do a second one coming in from the top. Around here. All right, so there's step number one. We're going to take our second stamping stamp. This one gets stamped off. Sometimes I call it second generation. I'm going to stamp off and fill in the color. So two-step stamping, I think it's my favorite way to color my images. Not all stamp sets are designed for two-step stamping, but it makes the color really pretty. No blends needed, no coloring pencils, no water brushes. I'm going to stamp off and come back in again. And I'm going to turn that around so I can see a little bit better. I'm positioning the claws and the legs. And there we go. All right, so there is most of my background layer. I'm not done yet. I'm going to add some water bubbles in there. And again, for the water bubbles, I'm using the Summer Splash ink pad. And I'm using the same block. It has the two stamps on it. And I'm just going to randomly stamp some water bubbles on here. I don't have to do too many because I'm still going to have more critters to add. Just kind of filling in back here. Okay, so it's coming along. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add my plant life. So let me remove that. I'm going to bring in my Summer Splash plant, and I'm going to add that to this stamped layer. And again, I'm just going to put little dots of glue, not a lot, but I do want it at the ends. That way as the card slides in and out of the envelope, these little branches won't get stuck on the envelope. So just a little dot, not a lot. I say that a lot, dot, dot, not a lot. I still get stampers who think they need to squeeze a big supply of glue onto their cardstock. And then we struggle to remove the excess. So just a tiny dot. Okay, so this is going to go onto our printed or our stamped layer. And it's not critical what angle, you're just going to want to lay that down. Now, because I don't want to lose anything, I'm going to mat this onto my Summer Splash. It's going to bring out the color, that watery effect. So these bright colors are just so joyful. Great for summer. It's nice to think about good times at the ocean. Okay, then I'm going to add that to my card base. And again, I just want to get these layers on here if I can. And I try not to layer before I've stamped. That way I still have options if I goof. This is going to be matted right onto the card base. Liquid glue again. And, oops, pencil's rolling all over. So this has about, I would say, 1/4 inch border all the way around. So if you do choose to join this class and you get the kit, all the layers will be pre-cut for you. Most of the die cuts will be done for you unless it needs to be stamped. I can't stamp and die cut for you. All right, so before we die cut this, we're going to go ahead and stamp our happy birthday greeting. Again, comes from the Patterns of Friendship. This is an online exclusive. You're not going to find it in the catalog, but it's still available. And I want to say it's about $20. It's very reasonably priced. And it's one that I know I'm going to get lots. I already have gotten lots of use out of it. Just the fonts are really happy. This script font and the block letters are all fun. So this goes on to a white scrap in tuxedo black. So far we've done a thank you card, a happy birthday card, just a hello card, and a bestie card. And I think all of them would be fun to receive. And they're kind of interchangeable. You could write your note for a variety of occasions. All right, now I'm going to snip one side at an angle. I'm looking for I didn't give myself much room. I've just got a slight, I don't know, would that be like a 20-degree angle? There we go. Happy birthday. It's going to go onto the card front, lined to the right with dimensionals. So I've got one at both ends here. And I'm going to place it about a little over 1/2 inch, and I'm going to line it to the white layer, the patterned or stamped layer right there. And we have a couple steps left. I shouldn't say one step. We are going to die cut that stamped lobster. Take out my coordinating die again. I'm going to bring in the mini and bring that in. You know, I've got my sandwich ready to go. Platform 3, cutting pad 2, paper, die, and I'm going to use my Post-it tape just because I don't want this to shift out of place. It's already been pre-stamped. It's ready to go. I don't want to mess it up at this point. So a little bit of Post-it tape, and make sure it's a low tack tape, otherwise it's going to tear your paper. And I'm going to crank that through, place my hand on top just for stability. There we go. Move those plates out of the way. And looks like I have a dimensional mess on my worktop. All right, remove the die and the Post-it tape. And I do reuse that Post-it tape for lots of die cutting. You don't need a fresh piece every time. I am going to put my die away so it doesn't get lost. These dies have already seen lots of use. And we're going to add our lobster to our card with dimensionals and the standard dimensionals. And I think mostly that's what I've used today is standard dimensionals. I think there was one point where it would have been better to have a mini, and I like to have all of the variety available. The mini, the black, the standard, the mini glue dots. I like it all just because they're adhesives for different purposes. All right, so now we're going to bring this lobster in from the upper right. I think it's just makes a really fun card. We're going to add our embellishments with those starfish, and I'm looking for my mini glue dots. And I'm just going to, oh, looks like I'm at the end of my tape. Yikes, I'm out. All right, so we're going to have to go to plan B and come in with liquid glue, which is totally doable, but just be careful. You're just putting down a small dot again. So 1, 2, and then 3. So it's doable, and I'm going to bring in my tweezers. These are tiny, tiny starfish. There is a right and a wrong side, so make sure you're laying that down with the right side up. So there's one. Whoops, and I think I just lifted it. Yikes. 2, let me try and put that back. He kind of got stuck to my finger. And then I've got the 3rd up here. So there's our happy birthday card. And again, it's kind of, there we go. So there's our happy birthday. This card used the two-step stamping technique and stamping off. Let's bring in all the cards in case you want to join this class. Lots of ways to join. Happy birthday, the bestie card. We have our hello friend. And then we have our thanks so much. So 4 bright and sweet and simple Ocean Friends cards for all occasions. Lots of bright colors going on, lots of techniques you can use on these cards to make them really fun. I hope you love them as much as I do. But wait, I promised I was going to share some other things with you. Let me remove these, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the event that some of my team members and I got to attend in March, be on stage in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was part of 2 organized swaps, and I'm going to share with you some of the cards I received in the swap. So I'm going to start off, this isn't a card, but it was something that one of the demonstrators was swapping, or gifting, I should say. And I think it's the sweetest little bag that she designed, Stamping the World with Love on Stage 2025. It's a great memento. And I'm going to see, I think she put her card in here. It's Passport to Creativity, and that is Rosalind Sue Smith. I think it's the funnest little tote she designed. And let me share with you the swaps I received. So this one I love, and it's the first one. It is a card with Friends of the Ocean. So lots of pattern paper used in that. This comes from Shell Bernovich. Really fun card as well, and I love it because, hey, it's Friends of the Oceans. Here is one of the cards. These are from the mini. That's how I separated mine. So this bundle is still available. We have the paper from the same wishing bundle, but a different stamp set, and I'm not sure which stamp set that is. I have a feeling it's an online exclusive, but not certain. We have one of the cake celebration cards. Those are die cuts, and the pattern paper makes a fun birthday card. And you know, I don't know the names of all of the bundles, and I'm forgetting to tell you who the designer is. Okay, so also from the mini, and wouldn't you know, this is one that doesn't have the demonstrator's name on it. Very pretty, the way she embossed, added some ink to it, and that die cut, love the die cut. And another stamp set, which is great for kids, the Dino set, Happy Birthday, still from the mini. And that's from Maria Ulst. Don't know if I said that right. Another Dino card, You're Terrific, from Therese Burdett. Really cute. That looks like a double fun fold. Some of these I haven't even opened up yet. Let's have a look. The other Dino was a fun fold as well. Okay, so it's a 2 fun fold. One, oh, Roar means I love you. Happy birthday. You're the best. Wow, what a lot of work Therese put into that card. Let's look at the other fun fold, because that Dino was also a fun fold. Happy birthday. Very cute. Roar means happy birthday, and dinosaur. Such cute cards, and I've grown to like that Dino set. I didn't start off loving it. Also from the mini, that happy birthday with this, oh, I can't remember the name of the stamp set, but I love it. It has the wine in it as well. Cheese and wine stamp, and I love that little dog, happy birthday. Great bright colors as well. Okay, so then I have cards that are from online exclusives. And this first one, I'm going to tell you, it's one I haven't worked with yet, but it's got beautiful stamps, paper, dies. It's called Textured Notes. So what I love about this bundle is that frame. There are sets of frames. They all have a different border on them. Really beautiful. This is from Lisa McGrew. And again, here's the stamp set. You're Seriously the Best. And this is from Kim Wilson. And one more. This one, I love this pattern paper. It's part of the bundle as well. Happy birthday card. She used some of the stamp elements. Sandy Herman. So again, that was the Textured Notes bundle. Also an online exclusive is the B stamp set and paper. And I think not online exclusive, it's from the Scrapbooking collection. And this kind of looks like a fun fold as well. Let's see who it's from, if it's on here. This is from Shayna Tackett in Kansas. You'll always be the one for me. Very cute, very colorful. And another online exclusive, Thinking of You, and I don't remember the name of the stamp set, from Linda Pittman. Beautiful pattern paper, and that stamp set is just gorgeous. They're huge stamps that are just great focal points. We also have the Everyday Wishes Arch stamp set. This coordinates with the Everyday Arches die cuts, which I just love. It's a great birthday card, and that's from Sasha Wilson. Love to stamp for fun. And too cute. I do not have this stamp set. It's adorable. This is called the Peekaboo Forest Bundle. And I know this is from Jennifer Hill. And it is just adorable. There are some critters in this stamp set. I'm not sure exactly what they are. There's a bear, looks like a lion, and a tiger. I'm not sure what this is. Raccoon, right? Very cute. Got the tree going on, the trunk, really super cute. I've seen lots of slimline cards made with this stamp set. And then I've got the, let's see, this one's called, it's still online, and this one is called the Tags to Go stamp set. Lots of fun paper, bright colors in that. And still online, this is my swap using the Thankful Garden bundle. I am in love with that hydrangea, and there's another flower in this stamp set. Ah, here it is right here. So those are two from the Thankful Garden stamp set. The stamps, the paper, and this sentiment is included in the stamp set. And then here's more from the paper. Really pretty. And then another one of my swaps. Here we go. And it's my swap. This is the You Are Remarkable stamp set. So those are the swaps I gathered from on stage. My team and I had the most wonderful time. If you ever want to join Stampin' Up, I would encourage you to attend the events. They are just amazing. Amazing doesn't even describe them. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with the Ocean Friends card class. I hope that you will join me either grabbing the kit, grabbing the PDF, or joining me in person. I haven't been watching all the comments. Hopefully you've left me a comment. I want to know who's here. And it's so, I can't tell you how rewarding it is to see you make a comment and let me know you stopped by and what you thought of the cards. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you follow this page. If you came late or had to leave early, this video will be posted over on the YouTube channel, Just Stamp with Anna Marie. Please reach out if you need anything or if I can do anything for you. Thanks so much for joining.